Sometimes there's like a balance of exercising and still being able to perform at work. And since I'm still new to this job, I don't want to go into it ever like fully exhausted. And then you make more mistakes, you can't think clearly. So there's like this balance of being active and yet still being able to do your actual job. Versus in the past, I would just treat it like a normal workout day and not worry about my energy levels at work. Versus now, I just think that putting a little bit more effort and being proactive about putting your best foot forward into where you're working. I don't know. I also just don't really want to go and ride the bike and suffer outside in this kind of heat, and perhaps giving myself a break from the sun just beating down for a couple days might be the right decision. Plus everyone is always asking to see Kylo, so here we are. It's a bit crazy how the woods here are so dense that even on like a perfectly sunny day, you are completely encapsulated down here on the trail floor. And now I'm sweating just walking. So it's probably the right choice. Kylo's probably sweating up a storm too. So we're getting in our steps. So far the trails look the same as they always have. This is an interesting statue. I'm not really quite sure what it is. Got like a pail and two women maybe? Or maybe it's one woman, but she's like in two. Oh man. Just the fact that someone carried that out here and like supplanted that onto the stump is to be commemorated. It's nice, like everything here is like, it's good, but there's nothing really like really majestic. And I imagine that, there's mountains that are far grander than, say, the Sierra Mountains in Tahoe. But it seems like just the grandness of that area is hard to match. I do think that there's actually more opportunity and more things to do here other than rock climbing. But you're kind of like missing that grand and just overall spectacle of beauty and views and the mountains and the hiking. Whereas this is like good at everything but not great at anything, but it has more good than Tahoe has of great. Hopefully I don't get lost out here. Last time I did, and that was not optimal, and it's so hot right now that I really don't want to get stuck out here in the woods where you get turned around, because there are zero landmarks. It's just trees and branches. So I watched this Jack Morgan, I think that's who he is, on YouTube. He was watching all these TikTok videos, which TikTok has to be the most miserable social media video platform ever created. But it seems like a lot of people are just not being very motivated and just not very happy. And they're basically doing nothing. They don't see any hope or future. And they don't get joy out of walking their dog or riding their bike or going to the gym anymore. And it kind of made me realize how fortunate I've been to never lose my desire for being active and being outside. I think this channel has helped because I never make a video, obviously, sitting in the house and not doing anything. I'm just like, if I make a video, I need to be outside moving, because that's what I think about a video topic or something I want to talk about. It just helps release some of my emotions or like creative thought. I don't know why I'm out of breath. This isn't very steep, but I think maybe because it's so hot. But yeah, regardless of how bad things have gotten, the gym, bike, hiking, snowshoeing, that's always been my saving grace and brought me back to a pretty good baseline. And I just haven't really been thinking about what a blessing that really is. Where some people are in the city and there's no outlet. It's just more noise, more concrete, sirens, bad news, the media. I think it all compounds. And it's probably difficult just to find that baseline in that center. Whereas when you're out in nature, it kind of naturally tends to bring you back to this natural, like, balanced state where I think that we're meant to be. We're not necessarily concrete jungle inhabitants. I think that being out in the woods and just outdoors and around nature and the animals is a much better place for us physically and mentally. So you get the double whammy. But I was just trying to think of the positives and how fortunate I've been to live in the places I have, from here in Idaho, Colorado, Portland, Oregon, Tahoe, all really great outdoor places where you get all the seasons basically, and there's just an abundance of things to do, nature all around, and generally just good people around you. Generally. This stinks. I turned on the Apple Watch for Strava just in case I got lost. The problem is it's not even recording my route or my distance because there's too many trees for the watch to pick up on any kind of GPS signal. So I'm out here blind again. But I'm pretty sure I know this trail at least, because this area of the woods, which I have really no idea where it is, it's just a certain quarter of it that hasn't really been tampered that much with like a million new trails that go off in every direction. Being able to walk and think, I suppose, about life and what's next and the right frame of mind to focus on. And I was thinking about how our thoughts are probably more powerful than we give them credit, because our thoughts then can turn into what we create, whether it's our attitude or our character or how we treat other people or treat ourselves. Our thoughts manifest into a physical realm. You know, you have to have a thought of the book you want to write before you write it. And so I just haven't been focused enough on my thinking patterns and what I think about, I guess. Nighthawk nesting. It's cool. That means, Kylo, you have to stay on the trail. It means you on trail. And as moderately careful as I am about what I put in my body eating wise, like if I'm out doing Uber, I would almost rather not eat anything than go get fast food or something that's unhealthy and make me feel sick. I think the same goes for the content that I'm bringing in from the world, from movies, music, YouTube. How much is all that content really serving me? And it kind of goes hand in hand with, you want clean food that goes into your body, but I think you also want clean content and messaging going into your mind. Look at this view. This is good. And I think perhaps most of the time when I really break down and feel bad about myself and just no longer want to be around and just overall negative, it's kind of after binging a lot of the news and the media and just overall negativity of the world, rather than all the good and what's positive. And then I get into that trap of like thinking, this is what people want, and this is what brings them in to, you know, the CNNs and the Fox Newses and all of the political commentators on YouTube. That gets them the clicks and the views and, you know, income, which, you know, I'm not gonna lie, I'm really trying to create a side income. But that's almost like taking drugs and being an athlete. It's kind of a cheating way to do it. It's lazy as well, because you're just feeding into the algorithm of negativity and plain old evil of the world. And I'd much rather not be a part of that system. I'd much rather maybe have a message for good, or not make anything. And also I just feel better in general about it. I mean, it is kind of like this enjoyment secretly, you know, but maybe from a very far distance and not seek it out, you know, just a little bit of shots of it. That's why I kind of like being a bartender, I suppose, is I'm kind of part of the party, but I'm not partaking in the drinking part. And I have an excuse because I'm working to not drink. It's kind of like the perfect way in to just socializing and being around other people without taking in alcohol, spirits, which I've always kind of thought like alcohol is called spirits, and maybe there's something spiritual about it that just hinders our own spiritual strength in a way. I don't know. It doesn't seem to uplift. And no, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say it's negative. I think it can be used for positive or negative. It's just the state of mind, perhaps, that you go into it. And then that's what you gain out of it. So if you go in trying to mask negativity, you're going to get more negativity. But if you go into it and you go out and it's about socializing and being around other people and making friends, then that's what you will gain. Just a theory, I don't know. Definitely could give you that Blair Witch Project haunted forest feeling. You could probably be out here just lost, wandering around and come upon some stone hut. You can't see anything out of here. It's just all shrouded in to the forest. Even Tahoe and Desolation and Wilderness, you could always see fields and open land. Growing up, this was definitely heart rate hill. This thing kind of kicks up, flattens a little bit, kicks up again, and then one more kick, super steep to the top. I remember as like a teenager, I was so happy when I could finally do it without having to push my bike, because it's a narrow trail, as you can kind of see, and you know, it's got some technical roots in there too, where you can lose traction on the rear tire. It seems like they might have changed it though, added in a bit more switchbacks, making it easier. To this tree where it flattens out a tad for some rest, and this is like 12% grade, so it's steep. And this is always that last little bit where it's steep and you think you've hit the top, but then you have it. It's just another steep section on a trail so narrow that there's zero room for mistakes. Where if you get offline, then you're off the trail and you're pushing your bike. Well, there's definitely a lot more trails than originally I thought, and I picked the wrong one. I think it took me a very long way around, maybe to the starting point, I'm hoping. But starting to feel tired, about 2.5 miles, which in reality, no, 2.7. So reality probably over 3.5. Because it's not getting reception. I started the watch late. Maybe this whole recovery walk actually ended up turning into quite the workout so far. So there's a trail there. Looks like there's a trail that goes that way. I want to go this way, so this is where we're going.